Dr. Shama Mohamed, Shivraj Singh Chauhan says the earlier MGNREGA gave a guarantee of 100 days of employment. Under the new scheme, it's been increased to 125 days. The cost of over 1.5 lakh crore rupees, center would bear about 95,000 crore rupees. So it's an improvement. He says the Congress and the opposition have torn the decorum of parliament to shreds, and democracy, in his words, was reduced to mob rule and thuggery, ma'am.
So when it comes from a party and a minister who lies from morning to night, who are called bol bachchans because they just keep telling things which they don't happen, I cannot believe it. Let's understand in 2014, what did Mr. Modi call MGNREGA? It will continue to live as the failure, monumental failure of the Congress government. So from that day onwards, Narendra Modi wanted to get rid of MGNREGA. Now let's understand the new bill. What is it called? It's called the Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission Gramin. So it's called the Viksit Bharat Gram Bill. I don't know how you pronounce it any other way because that's what it says. And this bill clearly says one very important thing. That is, it's section 4.5, that is, central government shall determine state-wise normative allocation for each financial year based on prescribed objective parameters. That means the central government will decide on how the funds will be spent. In the original bill, 100% of the wages were given by the central government. Now, 60% of the wages will be given by the central government and 40% by the states. So therefore, the burden is a lot on the states now. But on top of that, the central government decide how the funds will be allocated. For example, 60% of Kerala can be 1,000 crores and 60% of UP can be 5,000 crores. Now here, what in the original bill, 100 days were guaranteed. Here in 125 days, there is no guarantee. They said it can happen, it cannot happen. There is no guarantee. And of course, when the state has to spend the money, there is a problem. In 2018, the other thing the Modi government says is that what happens because of MGNREGA, a lot of farm people do not get agricultural workers. This is wrong because in 2018 Niti Aayog meeting, where the CMs of BJP states were there, they said clearly that because of MGNREGA, they get workers for agricultural labor.
Now, you've raised multiple points. Let me take it step by step. Let me take it step by step. Let me take it step by step so that it's not a monologue. Dr. Guru Prakash Paswan, both Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and Mallikarjun Kharge say the center has conveniently shifted the burden of the scheme on states. This is anti-poor, according to Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. States will not have funds, so the scheme will either remain on paper or be consigned to the back burner.
Gauravji, it's very important to understand a couple of things first. I was listening to the Congress party, I've listened to the Congress party leadership. Mahatma Gandhi belonged to the entire country. There is not a sole ownership over the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi of the Congress party or the Gandhi family only. We have to understand. And if their commitment to Mahatma Gandhi's ideas is so much, then in his last will and testament, right before his death, he said that the Congress party should discontinue as a political organization and they should take an avatar of a non-political social organization committed for social work. Did they follow that advice of Mahatma Gandhi? Absolutely not. Point number one. Point number two, you have to understand, why is the Congress party worried about federalism so much? Congress party has a history of dismissing democratically state government. Point number three, after the 14th and the 15th Finance Commission, the state government revenue has also seen substantial increase. We have to understand the Congress party is in Telangana, Karnataka, but in the maximum number of states, it's the Bharatiya Janata Party. The Bharatiya Janata Party state government would also share the responsibility. What the Congress party calls a burden, we call it a responsibility. It's a shared responsibility. It's not a binary of 0 and 1 of central government and the state government. It's the collective duty and the responsibility of the governments across the country and the central government as well. As far as the budget allocation is concerned, let me be very clear. Let us make this clear at the very outset. The Congress allocation of data was mere 2 lakh crore. But the NDA government has ensured more than 8.5 lakh crore. Look at the geotagging of the properties, look at the asset creation, look at the number of employment days that has been generated. It has been a substantial increase under NDA Prime Minister Modi. When PM said that MGNREGA scheme was only focusing on non-productive works, Mahatma Gandhi said, and we follow, that the villages should have their own economy. Gramin Arthvyavastha, Gram Swarajya, Atmanirbharta. What we intend to do, that the intent and the vision of Mahatma Gandhi would be followed through this new amendment. Instead of 100 days, 125 days of employment guarantee.
But where is that guarantee of 125 days?
For this scheme.
Where is that guarantee?
There is no guarantee.
Okay, of 125 days. But I want to quickly bring in Siddharth Zarabi on merits and Neerja Chowdhury on merits, because Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Neerja Chowdhury says discussions went on till 1:30 at night. 95 MPs spoke. Now, is the conduct of the Congress, as the minister says, a blot on democracy, tearing parliamentary papers to shreds, mob rule being reduced to thuggery, parliament being reduced to mob rule and thuggery?
I think all that was avoidable. But, MGNREGA was a very central part of the rights-based approach that the UPA government followed in its first term. You remember that? And the day NAC, National Advisory Council, headed by Sonia Gandhi, met in July of 2004, I remember the first day at the first meeting, MGNREGA was the one that was mooted. Right to Information and MGNREGA, both were part of the Congress's manifesto. And that very afternoon, I remember at 4 o'clock, the entire NAC team went to call on the Prime Minister. Again, he said, "Kaisa raha discussion?" And they talked about MGNREGA. And at that time also, the Prime Minister said, "How much will it cost?" And somebody gave a figure. So he said, "Oh, that much money." But anyway, they went ahead with it. And this rights-based approach of the Congress and the UPA won the Congress dividends in 2009 when they came back to power with an increased majority. Now, MGNREGA is very central to, very close to the Congress's heart, if one can put it that way. So the strong reaction from the Congress was to be expected. Now, the bill that's coming is very interesting. Instead of Mahatma Gandhi, it is Jee Ram Jee. And I think that probably is not an accident. It's, of course, we know Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission, Gramin. But it means, if you say all this, I will never be able to remember. Ordinary people will not remember. The moment you say Jee Ram Jee, it's like a greeting, Ram Ram Jee, as we say to people. So it is going to stick in people's heads. Now, that is where this government and this Prime Minister are adept at political marketing. Okay. And of course, it is a different bill. I mean, it's different in many ways. There is the funding that's been different. It's become, of course, all through Congress regime, the economic development was top-down. But there has been a demand of late that it become a bottom-up approach. And in MGNREGA, of course, the states were consulted about what was the demand coming from the district. That was the earlier model. Now the center will decide. Apart from 60-40 ratio, the center and states will have to share, which may affect the poorer states. But you recall,
even in 2012, and I'll come to that question in just a moment, Jee Ram Ramesh, then as Minister Neerja Chowdhury, had said words to the effect in that magazine interview to Yuvadesh, whether it had become a ditch-digging exercise or words to that effect. And I'll come to that in just a moment. Is that better, or should it be performance-linked or productive scheme? We'll debate that in just a moment. But Siddharth Zarabi, on merits, does the new bill that passed the Lok Sabha litmus test snatch away rural jobs, as Mallikarjun Kharge claims? Priyanka Gandhi Vadra says the burden shifts to states. There'll be no funds, so employment will go down.
Let's break it up. On the first bit, which is the most important bit, does it dilute the statutory right for an unemployed rural person to demand work? The final wording of the bill aside, it's clear that that is not diluted per se in the manner in which it is sought to be portrayed. In fact, it rises by 25 days. Effectively, if enough man days of work are made available, and there are concerns that in the past, not all 100 days have been available.
Yep.
A rural worker can actually stand to earn 25% more.
In fact, Siddharth, if I may, I'll come back to you, but look at these graphics that are playing out. Even in the past, it was 54 days, 75 days, 72 days, 61 days, 59 days, depending. So even 100 days, though guaranteed, were not actually happening, Siddharth. Can you explain that?
Absolutely, because there was not enough work or there were other issues. Now let's take another element that is attached to it. Some people criticize that, which is this 60-day standstill of sorts, which in policy design is aimed to ensure that farming season does not see a shortage of farm labor.
Sharad Pawar wanted that in 2011, if I remember correctly.
In fact, there were complaints that because of this, there were not enough hands that were available for agriculture labor, and we know that there has been transmigration within states on that account. So what it really does, and the funding bit, Gaurav, very quickly on that, if you just add up what has been spent from 2014 till now, and the peak funding year for this scheme was in the COVID year of 2020-21, it's almost 8,80,000 crore have been spent. What does this 60-40 formula do? It's not for all states, it's for the better off, financially better off states. Okay. It does transfer some of the burden to the states. But remember, because of the 4 new or rejigged baskets of work, more productive work can result. So I think opposition to the nomenclature change and all of the ideological biases that have crept into this debate just because it is Jee Ram Jee, keep that aside, and that's for the politicians to debate. Does this scheme of almost 2 decades need some revamp? Does it need reform? Does it need tweaking for an India of 2026 and beyond, where you have labor shortages, where other welfare schemes have increased? Free food did not exist in 2004.
Yes.
So there is a lot more money that is being spent on the social welfare account. I completely disagree with this statement that the earning of rural people is being reduced. In fact, it has been given enhanced on other schemes. Did this scheme need reform? Absolutely it did. Even the CAG has called for reform. So why have a problem? Do not conflate opposition to Ramji with a certain reform of a scheme in its
That's
details.
a very big point.